I'm Nick Zapola, and welcome to Beyond the Blueprint. Today, my guest is Zach Clanahan, lifelong resident of Southampton, although he wanted me to mention that he did come over at 6 months. So for the old generational people, they would not consider him a lifelong resident, but
That's
I
right.
certainly do.
I respect the locals.
He's a registered architect in New York, New Jersey, Hawaii, and other places. He's done work in Africa. He's been all over the place. And I've known him and worked with him for what?
I think we're coming up on 30
It,
years.
it, it may very well be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just need to mention that one of the reasons why I always love working with Zach and I sing songs about him, and you know this to be true, is because his plans actually work. I feel that
Thanks.
every single architect needs to work in the field like you did. You framed, and then when I first met you, you still had your tile company
Yep.
named the Irish Setter.
I did.
Now I'm just assuming that means you're Irish.
Scotch Irish.
Scotch Irish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
That's
played with
good.
that.
But he really, as a framer, like my expertise is in framing, I could always depend on his plans to actually work. Now, I love to complain because you love to put in so much steel
I do.
and you are the master of the bent beam.
I am. That's
But,
true.
and I always look for bent beams when I do get your plans.
Uh-huh. And you're not the
Right?
only contractor who complains about that.
But structurally, his plans work. And, you know, over in Europe, when they build houses and these houses are around for 300-400 years, I could say you're one of the few architects that I could say your houses will be around for 300 or 400 years.
Thanks,
Maybe
man.
it's just a structure, all the wood might rot away, but that thing is still going to be sitting up there. Now, a
Thanks.
couple of questions for you.
All right.
So, how did you get your start in architecture? What made you decide to go into architecture? And
All right. So I started out early in the trades, and you know how it was back in the 90s out here. It was pretty tough to get work.
Mhm.
So my first job was at like 13 or 14, I think. I started hanging sheetrock with some guys that I knew that hung sheetrock. And I quickly realized I never wanted to do sheetrock again in my life. And so I
It's
tried to go on to
horrible.
other trades. So I learned how to do framing, and I started working with framers and roofers and trim guys to make ends meet and make some money and
Right,
have some spending money as a kid.
right.
So along the way, I started to feel like I could maybe become like my own builder. That was my dream. But I also had a love of surfing. And so I had a chance to move out to Hawaii when I was 19, when I got out of high school. And I was going to go to school for electrical engineering, did one semester of that and said, no, this isn't for me. And as I'm going to take a break, get a little bit better at it being a surfer. And also the whole time I was working for a contractor out there who did all phases of construction
In Hawaii.
in Hawaii.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I was out there for about 4.5 years, 5 years, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot while I was out there in the trades. Meanwhile, my good buddy, who was also a surfer, was really focused on being an architect. And so he comes out to visit me, shows me what he's doing for architecture. So it starts to get in my head, oh, that could be kind of cool. One night, the builder asked me to do some drawings for him to help him have a ARB presentation. He's like, hey, you want to just make a cup of coffee, come and help me tonight? This is after we've been framing all day. So I sit there, we're drawing on the board, and we do a nice ARB presentation set. And at the end of the night, I'm like, oh man, this is really cool. I could see myself doing this.
Mhm.
The next day, we find out they completely rejected our plans because they were horrible. But it got me into the mindset that I could actually maybe do this as
Right.
a living. So then I realized I had to come back to New York and commute to NYIT. So that began the whole process of getting my license.
Wow. So that opens up a whole lot of stuff that I want to ask you, and I'm going to,
Okay.
but I do want to ask you one thing, you know, myself being in building my entire life. How does the construction in Hawaii differ from here in the Hamptons?
Oh, it's all ACQ,
Really?
which
So
was
it's
huge.
everything,
All
so
the
that's
framing is
treated
treated
material.
because the termites will destroy it in a
Right.
year,
I
basically.
mean, is the structure similar?
Very similar, all wood frame, almost the same lateral forces with wind because it's almost the exact same hurricane. I think it's
Yeah.
maybe 10 miles an hour more or 20 miles an hour more than
So
here.
that's where you kind of freak me out when you start saying about lateral forces and, you know, thrust. So, you know, quick, funny story
I didn't know
because,
it freaked you out.
yeah, it kind of freaks me out. Yeah, because the first time we met was on a pool house that you designed when you were working with Eric Woodward.
Eric Woodward,
Yeah,
he's my
and there was
mentor.
I was totally like, what is with all this steel? It was just like it was the most steel I ever saw in my life. And I remember calling you up and saying, Zach, like I don't understand. We could do this with LVLs, and and you said to me, "Well, Nick, what is the thrust on that wall?" And I almost threw myself off of the
Yeah, but I was also
ones
like
in my head.
23 and full of myself, and
Yeah,
I
but
should have some kind of
that
answer for
echoes
you.
still today. I'm
Yeah,
62. It echoes.
yeah.
You
I
know.
mean, that's probably the most challenging part of our designs out here,
Yeah.
is it making sure that they can withstand flood forces, right, with
Hmm.
FEMA and hurricane forces.
So a lot of architects. I deal with a lot of architects, and
Maybe we should go back to that one day I met you, though, just
I'd love to.
briefly. Uh,
Why don't we go right there right now?
okay. So my favorite story about Nick is that he gets me onto the plate. I think you tried to intimidate me by making me go up and walk the plate out to where the
Not knowing
framer
you
was.
could frame it. Listen,
Yes.
I might have.
Yeah. So I'm out there on the
I was
plate.
young
I'm
then as
talking to
well.
him. Yeah. And the framer's there. He's kind of hot-headed. He's telling me this can't be built, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, you do it this way. Look at the detail. We almost started like having a fight out
Was it?
on the it might have been you.
Yeah,
Maybe it was you.
I'm
Because that does it kind of
Italian
does
over
fit the
here.
profile of a hot-headed framer.
Well,
So
I am an Italian.
but yeah, anyway, that was my first memory of Nick, with us almost having a battle on the
Yeah,
plate there.
yeah,
But then I quickly like learned to love you,
yeah.
and
Well,
we've had a lot of fun over the years.
even back then, even if that was me up on the plate, we don't remember. I'm not saying it wasn't, but respected your intuitions and your design because again, I remember that pool house and everything. Like it was going up to knee walls and then
Yeah,
continuing on. And I always had to figure that out, which I
yep,
can do, but you had the numbers there. And
yeah.
I would typically ignore the numbers because architect never has the number correct. And you had it correct. And I'm like, wow, this is weird.
Well, that also goes back to Eric Woodward, to give him credit, because Eric made us make sure that our drawings had all the details for construction, and he also had us do all in-house engineering, which not many architectural firms do anymore.
And you don't do that anymore as well.
No, I realized that it takes too long to
Right.
keep that all in-house, and it's better to have another set of eyes, another licensed engineer looking at it,
Hmm.
just I think it makes it a better product.
Right. But to your credit, not every architect's an engineer,
That's true.
and you're an engineer. You know,
Not licensed,
I know
but
that.
I understand it,
Yeah,
the basic.
you can do it. You don't
Yeah,
know the basics. You know
yeah.
it all.
No, I don't. No,
All
I don't.
right. So we're bloviating right now. I want to ask you,
Yeah.
what is your favorite style house?
I spent some time on this one thinking about it. Um, I think I love a beautiful modern house. Like they're nice to look at.
Like a modern, like a flat roof modern style, or
No, I like more of the funner styles, but that's not my favorite house.
okay,
I think it always comes back to all the houses that we did with Michael Davis,
like
the early
a
ones, the
postmodern shingle.
not even that, the English country house
Okay.
that Eric Woodward really mastered.
Hmm.
I think that's the most fun I ever had as an architect, was
Really
working on those houses, designing them, making them work, trying to follow all the rules of shingle style and
curved
curves.
rake coming
Yeah,
down.
there to me that is, I think, one of the most elegant, beautiful houses that
I mean,
style out
I
here,
tend to agree. I mean, I
and it
do.
suits out here
It is.
really well.
It fits in. It's part of our architecture of the Hamptons. Um, I do like a flat roof contemporary, and I thought for a while I wanted to live in something like that, but I feel like it was a trend. And now I'm kind of over it,
Yeah,
and I always go right back to that, that shingle style as well.
yeah. And I remember Eric used to always tell me that modern is always cold, no matter how warm you try to make it on the interiors. It's always cold architecture. And this is talking about Eric Woodward, but traditional English cottage style is always very comfortable, very embracing when you walk in,
Mhm.
warm to move through.
Right.
And you know the houses that we built over the
Absolutely.
years.
I
They're
built many, many. So you keep mentioning Eric Woodward, and that's going to lead me into my
and
next
I'm not trying
question.
to,
No, 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 it's fine.
pump up Eric
Um,
Woodward, but I do owe him a
like,
lot.
what made you decide to go on your own? Because you were with Eric for a long time. That's where you were when I met you,
Yeah,
and then eventually, I remember you were slowly starting to go on your own a little bit,
hmm
and then boom, next thing you know, ZTC Architecture, which I think we should plug ZTC Architecture,
Thank you.
right?
Appreciate that. Um, Eric just aged out, really. He wanted to retire. So
So
I stuck with him all the way to retirement. We finished out the last three houses that we did together, and I saw it coming like 5 years previous to that, to him, to this ending. So I knew I had to start ramping up my business once I had my
right,
license, which was, I think, 2015. I had my license,
right.
And so I just slowly started building up my reputation and my name.
Right. How'd you do that?
You have to have a foot in both doors, basically. You have to be working for Eric, but also managing your own stuff too.
Right.
And Eric was very comfortable with me. He actually encouraged us to do our own work because he thought it made us better designers
Right.
when
True.
we had to handle our own decisions or maybe a mistake that we did in house, like figuring out how to fix that.
Hmm.
So he was very understanding about me setting up my own business as well.
I know from my own experience. So I was a framer forever. I was framing when I was 12, 11, 12 years old. My father, I started my framing company when I was 22. And then I knew eventually I had to get into general contracting. And I kind of had one foot kind of in that and one foot in framing. I
Hmm.
didn't want to let go. And then when I finally let go, it was a really difficult transition
Yeah.
because you're not really making money at the time. You're still working. And so how was that for
There's no
you?
safety net.
Yeah. How was that for you?
Uh, yeah, it's a little nerve-wracking sometimes
Hmm.
not having the safety net, but I also enjoy the freedom of it.
Right.
Um, and I think the thing that's good, and this goes to you and a lot of the other GCs that I like to work with, they've brought me work and have helped support me going out on my own,
Hmm.
which is good. And they also will bring in clients, which I think is I like that when the contractor brings me to the client because it's like they're already vetting me, and that to me is huge. It's something I'm proud of because I don't think many architects have that personally. I
Yeah.
think they're maybe getting the client first and then bringing in the
Right.
contractor.
I only have a handful of architects that I'll recommend, and it really depends on the situation. Like I'll recommend certain people, like small jobs. I have a guy do small jobs. I bring you in for, if I see something that I think is going to really interest you, I'll be
Mm.
like, you got to talk to Zach. You know,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I remember I brought you in uh, for when the guy who owned Estia owned a property and he wanted to do
Oh
um,
yeah,
the crate, the box car. What did I?
yeah. The
Storage container.
yeah, storage
And
container.
you did freelance work in Africa.
Yeah, in Africa. Yeah, we were doing these containers that were made for the Sudan, and it was actually specifically Juba in Sudan, and it's very war torn, and so they had to have these structures that could be brought in on a truck,
Hmm.
set up, hooked up to utilities, but also if war broke out, you just cut the utilities, put them back in the truck, and bring them away.
Wow,
So
I
we had to
didn't
design
realize
them
that.
for the heat. We had to do like it
Right.
was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I
not to
enjoyed it.
mention you got to surf in Africa.
Of
And
course,
I thought about you the whole
Jeffrey's
time
Bay.
there because I thought you were going to get eaten by a great white shark. So,
That's another story for another time. Actually, I have a good story about Jeffrey's Bay.
yeah. So let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What is your favorite town to work in? In the Hamptons. So I don't want to
Okay. Yeah.
talk
Okay.
about Africa.
I was gonna say
I
Hawaii.
we're here in the Hamptons. This is Hamptons.
Uh, I mean, I grew up in Southampton, so I I feel very comfortable in Southampton. But
Mhm.
but the village, I like East Hampton and Southampton Village right now because they're so easy to work with right now,
Right.
and they're not backed up like a lot of the other
East
municipalities.
Hampton town is horrendous to work in, and
It's challenging right now.
yeah, Southampton. I haven't had to deal with them, for a little bit, but
Southampton would probably be my go-to.
Southampton Village or Southampton Town.
Either one I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
That's good. So tell me about the current trends that you're seeing in architecture right now. We go through so many different ones now, and what are you seeing now in the
Um,
Hamptons?
I am definitely seeing the request for smaller projects, smaller
Interesting.
footprints,
Yeah.
because I just think price per square foot has just gone through the roof. I'm seeing this resurgence of the modern barn kind of
Hmm.
aesthetic
Right.
coming back,
Right.
getting that. But also, I'm seeing like more traditional requests as well, like more traditional shingle style, which I love. I'm happy to see that. I think that's what I'm really comfortable
Right.
doing. So
So is that like we talk about the different materials that you like to work with? You would say shingle. Do you like to work with
yeah.
any of the hardy plank, any of the composite stuff? What do you think of AZAC stuff like that?
Well, I mean, AZEC has replaced all anything that's going to be painted. It has to be AZEC at this
Hmm.
point. I think you agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Or PVC, we should say.
Yeah.
And I love shingle. I also like working with cedar boards for siding, things like that.
Hmm.
Something I think cedar just really suits our environment out here.
Yeah.
It
I
it
agree.
it thrives out here. It's what everyone expects to see when they come out here.
Hmm.
And yeah, I love working with cedar.
Yeah. So what about that whole trend that was happening when um everyone wanted black windows, and
Hmm.
black trim and like what do you feel about any of that stuff?
I feel like it's going to be dated, and I think in 10 years everyone will be probably starting to retrofit
right?
those looks, I think.
And probably 15 years after that, they'll start to bring it back
Yeah,
again,
of course.
right?
That's how it goes.
Because we do see a lot of different things come and go, but frankly, that shingle design, it always comes back to
It
that.
does always go back
A
to the
shingle
shingle.
roof, a shingle walls,
Mhm.
or a clapboard,
Yep.
it lasts.
And we were talking before about the White House with the black trim, and to your point, it comes and goes. And you had just countered by saying that, but that's what they did back in the early 1900s. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It goes in cycles.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm renovating a house right now for myself that was built in 1830 and it had asbestos siding on it. And I
Right.
ripped it off and I found the most beautiful, clapboard, thick, gorgeous. You
Really?
can't even buy it in,
Oh, nice.
and
Does
I
it have like
restored it.
groove in it, or was it just a straight?
It has a groove in the back of it
Oh,
to
cool.
overlap. So it was 3/4 inch thick material, but it
Yeah.
only has a 1/2 inch overlap. It was amazing.
Cool.
And I
Oh, you
insisted
mean for
on,
where it overlapped, it had
yes,
the notch for
yes,
it.
it was really cool.
Wow.
I've never
You
seen,
got to bring me on site so I can check it out.
stop by. Yeah, I'm
All
living
right.
there now.
All right.
So this is a good one. Okay.
Okay.
What is your
Excuse me.
advice to people who are looking for an architect? Now, I have some opinions about this,
Uh-huh.
and they're going to pop out, but I want to know what you
I
want
can't wait to hear your opinions because
to say.
you always have. You don't even have to state that you
Stop
have
that.
opinions.
Don't be mean to me. This is my show.
I thought about this one. I think the hardest thing to know as um, the consumer or the owner, the homeowner who's trying to bring in the right architect, is to know that when they get pricing and cost estimates, to know that they're comparing apples to apples when it comes to the estimates that they're getting, because it's hard for architects to be competitive with their pricing, but also provide all the detailing that needs to go into a set. And so a lot of times, sometimes uh, one design firm may say, hey, we can get you a set for this price. But then when you start to analyze what the set actually contains, it might be lacking a lot of detailing. And then what happens is that causes issues down the line for the estimates of cost, but also it also causes delays during construction if the detailing hasn't already been thought through, because now I'm going to have to come on site to try to figure out a detail that you can't figure out because we should have figured it out ahead of time in
Right.
the set. So we try to front load, and this goes back to Eric Woodward. We try to front load all of our detailing into our sets so that it
Mhm.
makes it easier for the bidding, but also for the pace of construction.
Right. And for the questions on site, I remember I used to be able to get full scale details of rafter overhangs,
Right.
which a lot of people don't do that. And, we need that. Like we
Yeah.
can't just guess, you know? So your main concern is the detailing of finishes, et cetera. Whereas as a builder who's bidding against, 5 different people, my main concern is knowing what to bid. Because everybody, if we're bidding against 4 or 5 different people, everybody's gonna pick out different plumbing fixtures to bid on, different appliances. They're gonna do a different allowance for cabinetry. A lot of people looking for the cheapest price,
Hmm.
and they're going to go with the cheapest guy, and then it might not be what the client envisioned. So do you ever provide, or do you plan on providing like a spec sheet, or is it that the clients don't want to pay you to provide a spec sheet?
It's kind of a little bit of both. Usually the spec sheets or the spec book won't come until after the CD set is finished and we're almost transitioning into the construction phase.
Mhm.
And it comes
So a
down
builder's chosen at that point.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're touching on a common problem in the industry too,
Yeah.
that we don't have enough time to get to a spec book because of pricing constraints
Right.
and timeline constraints.
Mhm.
But yes, we do try to do spec books, but I have to be honest with you, probably half of our projects don't have specs books
Right.
because we didn't have the budget or we didn't have the time for it.
Mhm. One of the things that I have been trying to do with my architects and clients, is to provide a high-low bid,
Yeah.
and I try to get architects, like, I'm like, listen, I'll do this for free, you know, give me a set of preliminary plans, basic, it could be written on a napkin,
Hmm.
and I'll look at jobs with similar scope that I've done, and we have, square foot prices for tile and blah, blah, blah. And we do like on the low end, it's going to be here. On the high end, it's going to be here. Would a tool like that be helpful for you to kind of massage a client in a direction to get to their budget, which they always say is, 5% lower than or 10% lower than their actual budget,
Yes.
because
I think it would be. I think if you would given us at up front, then it would help us to know how to finish out our details,
Hmm.
and also know that we're on the same page when you're giving your pricing, right? Because
Right.
sometimes you do allowances, but if we have a spec book that relates to the allowance, then there's no guesswork as to what's in that allowance. And sometimes
Exactly.
that's the problem with a bid.
Right. And then all of the bidders can have the same allowance. It
Right.
sounds like, a lot of times my bids will have, it's a huge spreadsheet with every
Hmm.
eventuality that I could think of in it. And I'm happy to have that shared with the other builders, not with the pricings on it,
Yeah.
but just so we're all bidding on apples to apples,
Right.
So
I think that's the biggest problem is to make sure that what is being bid is the same comparable service. That is the biggest challenge to help figure out for the
mhm,
client and to prove really, because you can't really go back into every contractor's mindset as they prepared the bid.
right, right.
That's the challenge for me as an architect
Yeah,
to know that what I'm looking at is the same.
yeah, yeah. For me as a builder too, it's very difficult to express that to the client, And in
Yeah.
the end, we just want a happy client that's going to recommend us to someone else. This is
Right.
what's happening to us right now on a job that we're
Yeah.
working together.
Yeah.
We're getting recommended because, we trying to do the right thing by the
Yeah. And
client.
you came in very close to your numbers.
No, I do. One of the things that um, I don't want to say I struggle with it, but I'm constantly thinking of because I'm always looking way ahead on what my next job is. Like I got my
Mhm.
jobs going on, but I have to think of
Right.
where
We
it's
always have
coming
to be
from.
ahead.
Right. Because it takes 6 months. It probably takes you a year or more to get a plan out
Yeah.
with a client. So I'm always thinking of how am I going to market myself? How are people going to find me? A lot for me is word of mouth. Previous projects they see if they're a high profile. I go on Instagram. But what is your advice for a homeowner or a first time home buyer or something that's looking to do a renovation or they want to build a new house, they just bought a piece of property. How are they going to find Zach Clanahan?
I think to your point about word of mouth, I think being in the community that we're in out here, most of our work is from word of mouth. So I rely on that a lot. You rely on that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think that the new homeowner can tap into that network of professionals that are out here, locals.
Hmm.
I would recommend any homeowner out here not just going to Google and looking in Google or, trying to do chat GBT on it. I would say talk to some builders, maybe talk to some other friends that have a house that did some construction.
Hmm.
Who did they work with? Did it go well? Did it not go well? Ask them what architect they use. I think once you talk to two or three builders that are local, they have a handful of architects that they would recommend, at least
I think
three.
that's great advice. Yeah.
Because then it's kind of a safety net, and they're not going to recommend someone that's not untrustworthy.
Right.
They want to be in on the project too, so they're going
Yeah.
to recommend architects that they know they can trust.
Right.
And I'm the same way with the builder, right? When they ask me, okay, what builder, I'm going to recommend the ones that I know I can trust
Right.
that are local.
Yeah. Going to work with you,
I
have your
think it
back.
goes both ways for
Right.
us.
No, I definitely I think that's a great answer, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Do you put your name out there anywhere though? So one of the things that I did early on when I first uh, started general contracting, and I was with it. I was in it with my cousin Nunzio, as you remember him.
Yeah,
And one thing he did great.
good times with Nunzio.
Yeah, one thing that he did really good was getting our name out there. I was waiting to see it on the side of a Hampton Jitney one day. Like it's just like he put it in every publication. He went on all kinds of things.
He was pretty savvy with
Yeah,
the
it just
internet early
got our
on.
name out,
Hmm.
like people saw our name and then people were like, "Oh, you guys are too big." I was like, "No, we're not. Like we're just starting."
Yeah.
Do you do anything like that? You on Instagram or anything like
We
that?
have well, my wife really runs my Instagram feed. I have to give her credit for that. Um, I think our website is probably the biggest way for me to get my name out there and also showcase all of our work. Because when anyone asks for a portfolio, I just say, look at my website.
Right, but they have to decide to like if they're looking for an architect, they're not going to be like
No,
ZT.
no, I think it really comes back to what we said, just asking around. Spec books have to be done more, which I think I need to push more.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to advertise. That's also a big issue for me.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know how to get my name out there any more than I.
I don't think it's about, doing a catchy ad. I think it's just about getting your name out there.
Yeah,
So people are like architect, CTC. Like I have a logo and my name. People just like, oh, Paula,
yeah,
builder. Just get your name. It's like,
yep,
as far as spec books are concerned, it doesn't have to be a whole spec book.
no,
If you just went through and gave allowances, there's the allowance for tile, there's the allowance for appliances, there's the allowance for
right.
kitchen.
The basics.
And that's really something that'll help.
I think I gotta that's something I need to focus on.
Yeah. Well, right
And
now,
as a new firm, I think I'm still figuring that out actually.
mhm.
So it's good that you raised that question. Tell me,
Well,
what I
right
should
this
do.
second, I'll tell you what you should do right this second.
Okay.
Tell us what your website is.
ztcarchitecture.com.
ztcarchitecture.com.
Yeah.
That's who we're going to right after this. Everybody's just going to want to check out his website.
And you can email me through there and we can have a conversation
Good.
and meet you on site.
Are any of my projects I did for you on there?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there are.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
Just want to know.
Yeah, there's a couple.
And if anybody out there needs a great architect and a great surfer, I think you should talk to Zach Clanahan. Now, there's one last thing that we need to do. It's something that we do on this podcast called the lightning round. A very fast-paced, quick little thing. We're just going to ask you a couple of questions about what you think about certain things in the Hamptons, and you're just going to
Okay.
right off the top of your head. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
First one, favorite restaurant?
Stone Creek Inn. Always.
Stone Creek.
My wife and I always go there for our anniversary.
Isn't that
It's my
changing
favorite.
names?
It might be. I didn't know.
I think it is. Favorite farm stand?
It's the one in Sagaponack that has the raw milk. And I can't remember what it is.
Is it Meacock's?
Is it? Oh,
Meacock's
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
I
you
love
can
that
buy,
farm
like,
stand.
you know.
The cheese, the raw milk.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
cool. Cool people.
Favorite seafood spot?
Shinnecock Bay. I like to
Shinnecock-
catch my own seafood.
Oh, really? Is that the thing?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I also like Canal Cafe.
Canal Cafe?
Yeah.
Okay. What about your favorite Hamptons spot? Like just spot to go.
The beach down
beach.
down at County Park. I love being able to drive on the beach at County Park as a
Okay.
resident.
Yeah. Is that where you serve?
Yep.
Right.
We camp there. I love just being
What
there.
is your perfect day in the Hamptons?
Down there at the beach.
Down there at the beach?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I had a lot of fun.
Me too.
You know, we've been doing this for a long time, and to
Yeah.
be able to talk about it, and we touched on a lot of subjects here.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot more I want to talk to you about, like surfing and all kinds of stuff.
Where do we start?
You know, we kind of, I think we touched on a lot of good information for people watching this. I want to thank you for coming in. You know, I love seeing you.
I love seeing you too.
Yeah.
This was fun.
You know, it meant a lot to me, and really, this podcast is about really what we're talking about.
Thank you for inviting me too. It means a lot to me.
And I just want everybody to know, thanks for watching Beyond the Blueprint. Thanks, buddy.
You got it.
Good to see you. How was that?